If you ever thought, why can't I just stick to my diet? This video is for you. Because for a lot of people, it's not a discipline problem. It's nothing to do with the willpower. It's that dieting targets the tip of the iceberg, only things what you can see, while the real drivers of overeating, binging, and food noise are sitting underneath the water. I'm Marie. I work with women who struggle with binge eating and food noise. So today I want to give you a framework which will explain why you should stop blaming yourself and start the work on the actual problem. Quick note, this is an educational video. It is not a medical advice or a diagnosis. If you think you might have an eating disorder or a medical condition which is affecting your weight, please get an individual support. What I'm sharing here it's just a general framework that applies to many people. Let's start. So why I like this iceberg example is that it shows perfectly how work on the weight loss is going. Above the water, there is a visible part where everyone is focusing on. It's the number of the scale, eating behaviors like overeating, for example, body dissatisfaction, clothes which are not fitting you, sometimes medical issues which are connected to the weight as well. And because this is the visible part, it gets the most attention. This is why diets are selling so well too, because they are promising you to fix the visible part. The visible layer is often the downstream result of what's underneath. Now, let's talk about what's underneath. What it is the part which isn't sexy, it's not visible, it takes more skill. But it is definitely not connected with discipline or willpower. What you have under surface is stress and nervous system load. It's sleep and fatigue, the ability to regulate your emotions, beliefs about yourself, your worth, your confidence, how safe and unsafe you feel in your body, and also your environment. The really important nuance here is that sometimes you think you're hungry, but it's actually just an emotional comfort. So when you say, I can't stick to the diet, basically, oftentimes what you're saying is that I just can't hold the diet rules steady when life gets stressful, when I'm tired, when emotions are hitting, or when the food feels like my only relief. And how will you be able to fix that with just the willpower? Well, you can't. Diets focus very heavily on the surface layers, which is the rules you have around food, like meal plans, cutting some type of food group out, eating less, or the tracking everything you eat. And sometimes you do get the quick win. Like you lose weight, you feel more confident, you feel very proud, you get proof that you get to do the most important achievement of your life, because oftentimes people who are struggling with weight, it has been happening for years. It's not just I just gained it and now I'm gonna lose it back. So obviously I'm not gonna pretend that it doesn't feel good. It feels great as someone who's been there, who lost weight and got to do everything I thought I would do only after I lose weight. It's perfect. It makes total sense that people chase that result. But for many people, especially if you have a history of binge eating and restrictive patterns, this rigid restriction often backfires. Not because you're weak or not because you don't have enough discipline, but because the brain often responds to the scarcity and stress by increasing cravings. The real reason why you can't lose weight with the diet is because the diet is asking you to control the tip of the iceberg without the changing the part that's creating the pressure. What actually makes this easier, it's not the discipline, it's building skills and conditions that lower the pressure under the surface. So you have to create this flexible structure instead of having very rigid, unbreakable rules. You need to learn how to regulate your emotions without using food. You need to support your progress with sleep. You have to learn how to deal with stress and work on the beliefs that make weight feel like life or death. And it's changing the identity you have attached to it, that your life should only happen after you lose weight. I know it might feel little it might feel like something you're not experiencing, but you have no idea how often people have contradictory beliefs about food. You have no idea how often people have contradictory beliefs regarding the weight. Like, the one thing that blew my mind was I had this conversation with one of my clients, and she said that she has been trying to lose weight her whole life. She was also struggling with binge eating, and that was the second biggest thing she wanted to work on. And she knew she wanted to be skinnier. She had specific number in her head. She wanted to see that number when she stands on a scale. But throughout the conversation, when I kept asking her questions about the beliefs she has around food, turns out that she thinks people who are skinny are not healthy because of the environment she grew up with. And she started to believe that if you are skinny, you are sick, which is not true, obviously, but she didn't even know she was thinking that. And what happened was that she was making this choice constantly. Do I want to be skinny or do I want to be healthy? And obviously, she's choosing health even though it's happening on subconscious level. So we all have the type of beliefs about weight, about food, which we don't really understand, and sometimes they are very contradictory, and you are making decisions you don't completely understand. But if you go deep down, you will see perfect logic behind it. And a lot of people think so. How to do that? I wanted to highlight this point. How to do it is to find out what is the real fear behind losing weight. So if you ask yourself, like, if I gain weight or if I will not be able to lose weight my whole life, what does it mean about me? Then go deeper. Like, will I lose respect for myself? Am I afraid that people will not find me desirable? Am I afraid of being judged or rejected? Or maybe I'm afraid that I will be alone my whole life, or nobody will love me because I am overweight. When you name what it is, the real fear behind your weight, you will find that this fear might be what is keeping you overweight. And it is very good ground to start recovery with binges as well. I will give you my example with that exercise. For me, fear of being overweight was closely tied to safety. Part of me felt safer in a bigger body because I have been always overweight. Like, as I remember myself, I'm always overweight from the childhood. So physically and emotionally, I was in a very comfortable space, even though I knew I didn't want to be there, but that's the only condition I knew how to be in. So it was like this perfect bubble in which I am there. I'm very comfortable, even though I want to get out of it. I'm kind of trying, but the bubble feels so comfortable, it's difficult for me to push through. And I had this story in my head that when I lose weight, I will start enjoying life. Like, when I lose weight, I will reach my goals. Everything in my life was connected to me first losing the weight, and my life was stuck because of that. And I was never connecting those things together. The moment I connected them, I realized that I was just afraid of losing the safety. Because our brains are wired for survival, safety, predictability, this quick relief are very important things we got to experience. So our brain is helping us make the decisions. Not helping us, but our brain is making the decisions which will help us stay there. Unconsciously, more important thing was to stay safe than be seen. So if you want support reducing binge episodes and food noise in a way that it's sustainable, if you want help to see what are the beliefs you have around food, feel free to join my free Skool community about binge eating recovery and weight loss, and I will be seeing you in the next one.